Foolish people do not have the eyes to see such facts. Therefore, the laws of the Supreme Lord befool them. Which facts? That they are working so hard, and because they are not giving that money in service of Lord, they are not using it in connection with Supreme Personality. So their money, it just get spoiled. So even after seeing all these things, they never think that why is this happening? I worked so hard, but this mishappening happened with me. So they are just being befooled by all these things. Moving forward, the laws of nature do not allow us to accept more money than is required for proper maintenance. Now you will ask question that, but I see there are so many people who are very rich, they have so much of money. But one thing one should understand, that of course it can be possible that any person, he can have more than what he really need, but that will be the reason of trouble only. So people might have lots of money, lots of clothes, they might have more than they really need, but that will be the reason of their trouble only. So yes, this is true. There is ample arrangement by the law of nature to provide every living being with his due share of food and shelter. But the insatiable lusts of human beings have disturbed the arrangement set forth by the Almighty Father of all species of life. So it will be a reason of disturbance only. They will take more than they actually need, but that will be the reason of disturbance, trouble. And this is very practical. You can yourself see this thing. Even possibility is there that this might have happened with ourselves only in our practical life. Just I gave example of mine. I had lots of clothes. So that was the reason of trouble only. I was troubling. I was just wanting more and more, but at the same time, it was disturbing me a lot. So this is practical, that if any person, he will not take according to his needs, then it will be the reason of trouble only. It will be the reason of disturbance. Not only disturbance in our life, but in other lives also. By the arrangement of the Supreme Lord, there is an ocean of salt, because salt is so necessary for the living being. God has in the same manner arranged for sufficient air and light, which are also essential. Anyone can collect any amount of salt from the natural storehouse, but constitutionally, if we cannot take more salt than what we need, if we take more salt, we spoil the broth. And if we take less salt, our food becomes tasteless. Is it not? So now that whole sea, like there is an ocean of salt. There is an ocean of salt. Ample amount of salt is there in the ocean. And any person, he can take more salt from there. He can take more than he really require, than he really need. So here Prabhupada ji is telling this amazing example that any person can collect any amount of salt from the natural storehouse, but if he will use if he will take more salt, then he will spoil his food only. It will not taste nice. It might have happened with you also. It might have happened that sometimes we add more salt in our food. So we can't do anything with that food, isn't it? With that sabzi, because we have added lots of salt to it. So now we can't even consume that. And if we put little amount of salt or no salt, then our food will be tasteless. So this is really nice example that the quantity should be limited as much as we need. Neither more nor less. It should be limited, balanced. Otherwise, it will trouble us. On the other hand, if we take only what we require, our food is tasty and we are healthy. Presently, there is a great deal of concern over the fact that our natural resources are becoming polluted and exhausted. Actually, there is ample supply, but due to misuse and greed, everything is being spoiled. This is the only reason of why everything is getting spoiled. Everything means whatever we take, first of all, very first bad thing is that whatever person is taking, he is using it for his own sense gratification. He just want to gratify his senses. But you will see this is really very practical. The movement there is Krishna is in center. A devotee, neither he will take much nor he will take less. He can take less, but he will never take much, because he is very much aware about this thing that whatever I'm using it I'm using it for Lord, in service of Lord. Even though we use it for our own self also, but then also in our consciousness, we never think that we will use it for gratifying our senses. Just if we take example of food, earlier we just used to visit hotels and restaurants and we wanted to eat food there. But now we know this, that whatever we eat, we should first offer it to Lord. So we even don't think to take any sweet or something from outside, from any shop, and then we just offer it to Krishna and then we have it. We will always want that, no, I will cook it by myself and then I will offer it to Krishna. Because outside man, any shopkeeper, any sweet man, his consciousness is not, in his consciousness, whatever he is making it for the sake of money. In his consciousness, he's not thinking that I'm making it for Krishna and any devotee will come and he will purchase this sweet for me. No, he's doing it because for the sake of money. And that's why you will see they don't even make with very clean space or with very nice ingredients. They just make very badly. This happens. I've seen many halwais like this. You might have seen. So yes, devotees are very much conscious about this thing. Even though it might seem that that devotee is also eating like a normal man. He is also wearing clothes like a normal man. But consciousness plays a very vital role here. In consciousness of devotee, there is always Krishna, that I'm doing it for the sake of satisfying my Lord. He is so much, his heart is filled with so much of gratitude that because of Krishna's mercy, I am able to consume this food. Krishna has gave me all the grocery or all the ingredients to cook for him. We should always think about these things. Our heart should be filled with gratitude. If you will think about this thing, you will feel so much grateful. And this is also practical. You will also feel, oh, Krishna is giving me too much. I really don't deserve this, but then also Krishna is giving me too much. Devotees often think like this. And this is all because of change. As devotees, as a person, chant holy names of Lord, as he practice all the devotional services, his consciousness purifies. So this is the game of consciousness only. I sometimes feel so much surprised that earlier my consciousness was so dumb. Like I used to think for myself only. But now see, this is all glories of the holy names that we are chanting. That's why our consciousness is purifying. So this is just amazing. So yes, presently there is a great deal of concern over the fact that our natural resources are becoming polluted and exhausted. You know the reason behind this also? Because people are just, they are not thinking that, yeah, they don't have any gratitude. This is main thing. They are just thinking that whatever things I have owned, those are mine, and whatever I haven't owned, those are not mine, so I will not care about those things. That's why I'm giving very poor example here, but you will understand. Earlier, when we used to visit in parties, shadi and all, marriage functions and all, so you will see people, they consume food there, buffer system. In buffer system, they take by themselves and they just eat whatever they want, and rest they just waste. Have you noticed this thing? Why? Because they think that I haven't owned this is not mine, so I don't care, I will waste. So this is the only reason behind this. The great deal of concern over the fact that our natural resources are becoming polluted and exhausted. Actually, there is ample supply, but due to misuse and greed, everything is being spoiled. What conservationists and ecologists do not understand is that everything will continue to be spoiled by the insatiable lusts of mankind unless this Krishna consciousness process is taken up. So very simple thing, until there is Krishna is not in center, person, he will be overwhelmed with all the lusts of the desires of fulfilling unnecessary desires. He'll be just busy in serving, in fulfilling his desires only. And when he will only be, his mind will only be in serving all those desires, then peace is impossible. And they will continue spoiling all the resources and stuff. It is impossible to have peace on any platform of existence without Krishna consciousness. So this is very important point. So see, bottom line is that solution of every problem, that can be any problem of this world, any problem, is Krishna consciousness. It is very easy also, but hard also. It is easy for them who will understand this thing, who will accept this thing as it is and start following in their lives. But it will be very difficult for them who will not get convinced, who will not accept, and they will just put their illogical mind. How magical is this now? That whatever problem you have, the only solution is Krishna consciousness. Today only, again, when I was remembering something happened in my past, there was one family in my relative only. So, okay, let's not talk about this. But yeah, I just see, I can observe this thing, and you should also observe this thing, that anyone who is suffering in this world, it is because he is not serving Lord. He is assuming himself that I am the proprietor of everything, and that's why he is struggling. So this is very, very important point. I was also thinking this today morning only, that how great Krishna is. Earlier when I used to struggle a lot, I was so much underconfident. I was so much underconfident. So I used to think that this is the only problem of my life. If this problem is solved, then I will be, happy for always. And see the mercy of Krishna. Even I was thinking about this thing today morning only, that how amazing Krishna is. Whatever desire you have, you are assuming that that is the very big problem of my life. Krishna is just true magician. For him, there is no any problem. Rather, he will say, if you will ask him for any problem, Krishna will say, "Oh, why didn't you told me this earlier? Why were you struggling? Why didn't you came to me earlier? I was waiting for you." And this is true. Krishna is waiting for us, that when will we turn back to him? And you yourself practically can observe this thing, that how our lives have become so easy than before. I can really relate with this. So we should always think about this. Alright. Man is therefore suffering due to his insatiable desires and lust. Not only is man suffering, but the planet on which he resides, his mother earth, represented in 𝗰𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗺 by mother nature, by mother cow, is also suffering. We read this in Krishna book. Once a well-known Swami in India was asked whether God or Providence is responsible for the sufferings of humanity. The Swami replied that these sufferings were all God's pastimes or Leela. Can you accept this thing? That whatever sufferings people are suffering, it is Leela of God. It is. See, the Swami replied that these sufferings were all God's pastimes or Leela. The questioner continued to ask why a living entity should be put under the dictations of the law of karma. The Swami could not answer these questions to the satisfaction of his inquirers. The monists and impersonalists who think only in terms of the oneness of the living entities with the Supreme Lord cannot give satisfactory answers to such questions. Such an imperfect reply can hardly satisfy the heart of a living entity. So now see, this is also a great illusion, that whoever the people who are following these impersonalists, they never reply, they never give any answer to a question, a satisfied answer of any question. But then also they just blindly follow it. Isn't it a great illusion? Here, in this devotional path, it's not like we are following everything or anything blindly. Whatever we are following, we can practically see transformations in our lives. It's not like we are not experiencing anything, and yes, we are just blindly following everything. But here you will see, very first thing, whatever they say, there is no any evidence of scriptures. They never tell anything from scriptures, and they never give any satisfied answer also. But then also people like fools, they just follow them blindly. So see, one line Prabhupada ji is telling here: the monists and impersonalists who think only in terms of the oneness of the living entities with the Supreme Lord. Now what does that mean? That we all are one. You won't believe this. There was one guy, Prabhuji. He also tried to preach me like this, that we are one. You are also God. I am also God. I was not getting convinced that time. That how is this possible? I am God, but I often get fever. If I am God, then why I get fever? Why I get sick? So I was not getting convinced, but he is so much convinced. Even now also, I don't know where he is, but yeah, he tried to preach me like that. But fortunately, I got the association of devotees, and I tried to preach him Krishna consciousness that time. But he just started fights with me, and he just ran. That I will not listen to you, I'm just going. Okay, go. So you will see, these people, they think that all are one. That pig who is consuming stool, he is also God. It's just he is doing his leela. Yes, you won't believe these people say like this, that if he is consuming that stool, he is doing his leela. See how much illusion. If you are getting sick, then that is also your leela. You are doing your leela, and you are yourself not aware about this. You are doing leela, but you are not yourself aware about this thing. Once Prabhuji told this thing, that there was one god in Agra, maybe Agra or something, I don't know. So Maharaj ji was telling, actually, I don't know, any devotee went there. So they asked, where is your god? So his disciples tell that my doctor has gone to dentist. He has some problem in his tooth, so he has went to dentist for checkup. So now see, is God that much helpless that he has to go to a dentist for a checkup if he has any problem in tooth? First of all, see, these are the people who are not even aware about who God is. What is the definition of God? They are not even aware about this thing. That's why they take God so cheaply. They are not even aware about that what God is. God is someone who is most powerful. Then how can he be so much helpless that he has to go to a dentist for a checkup? Or he also has to suffer old age? So this is a great illusion, and this is just amazing that people follow these people blindly. So such an imperfect reply can hardly satisfy the heart of a living entity. How can one get satisfied by hearing false things? This is not possible. We can't get satisfied with any false thing by hearing any false thing. So one should understand this thing. The Lord is described in all scriptures as Leela Purushottam, or the personality of Godhead, who is by his own nature always engaged in transcendental pastimes. In the Vedanta Sutra, he is also described as 𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗺𝗵𝗺𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵𝗵 great difficulty to explain this sutra in diverse ways in order to support their imperfect theory of oneness and impersonality. Now let's understand the meaning of this word Anandmayo-bhyasat. See, Anandmayo means the Supreme Personality, Krishna. Abhyasat. Now, Abhyasat doesn't mean that for experiencing any Anand, any bliss, God has to practice, God has to do any Abhyas. It's not like this. But you will see these impersonalists, they try to explain meaning of this word like this only. That for experiencing bliss, you, whatever activities you are doing, all the sufferings you are going through, you're basically doing abhyas. You are doing your leela. And by this only you will be able to get your real identity, that is God. So Lord Krishna is in Vedanta Sutra, he is described as Anandmayo Bhyasat. So I hope meaning of this word is clear, that God don't have to do any abhyas or any practice for the sake of experiencing any bliss. He is already 𝗃𝗃𝗃 Vigraha. He is already blissful. He is always in blissful state. We are also 𝗃𝗃𝗃, but because of material covering, we are not able to experience it right now. But if we are 𝗃𝗃𝗃, that doesn't mean that we will also become God later. It's not like this. So yes, however, the fact remains that Anand, pleasure, cannot be enjoyed alone. That variety is the mother of enjoyment is a well-known fact. So yes, we will continue this discussion in our next class. We'll stop here now. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.